Welcome to Longbottom Farm. Today we're going to move our cattle from their winter area back to their spring, summer, fall area. The grass is growing, spring is here, so come along, we'll show you some shade structures we use, we'll show you how we run our hot lines, and basically how we rotate our cattle during the warmer months. So come along and let's get these cattle back on some greener grass. And we are down here to the pastures. You can see there's a fence running through here. This is our pastures here. This is our neighbors over here. They usually let this grow long over on this side. They do a lot of hunting, so they like to let it grow long. Brings in a lot of the wildlife. Let's get up here. We'll call the cattle down. We'll run our lines and get them ready to get back on good pasture. This is one of our loadout areas down on the river. It's basically just a capture pen, and then there's a small bud box over at that far gate, and this is where we would bring them in. We would load down here from sometimes, but we've set up stuff up top now where it's easier to just call them up and load up there. Still nice to have a little area though to quarantine off someone. If we need to check out somebody, we get them in here. This is the lane we'd push them into. Again, like I showed you in the previous video, this is actually sunken in, so we can back a trailer into here, and it just makes a perfect little loading area. Works good, just kind of pain in the butt getting down here. Basically the cattle come into this gate right here. Just have a working area in here, and then as we come forward, there's a gate right here. And this is where we get them into, and essentially just goes into a lane, and we just push them. We can back a trailer into here. Behind me, these are two shade structures. We'll check those out in a minute when we get in there and set up the line. As you can see, these pastures really don't have any trees, and in the summertime it gets really hot. We have some black cattle, so we just want to keep them cool, keep them comfortable, and the shade structures help out a lot with that. So we'll look at those in a minute. And then right here behind me, you can see where the ground is still holding a lot of water down here in the bottom. Now, this is a fenced out area here, so cattle don't get into here. And then right behind me, along here, you can see the James River. And the river's up right now, which is why this water is in here. It actually drains from the river, comes into here and kind of backfills in. That'll start draining a little better as it warms up, but again, that's not a cattle area. You can see the fence that runs along here, and everything behind me is fenced out, so the cattle can't get into that. All right, let's get in there. We'll set up some lines, call the cattle down, look at shade structures while we're in there, and get these cattle on some new grass. So we're here in the pasture. We've got our hay bale right here. We're going to go ahead and put that out. I've always learned, and let me start off by saying I am by no means an experienced cattleman, rancher.
But I am pretty good at improv, so...
Cattle, we've been doing it for about 5 years, but honestly I think I'm just scratching the tip of the iceberg. There is so much to know, not even about just cattle, but nutrition, management, behavior, nutrients. There's a lot to learn, and I still feel like I'm a novice. I don't know it all. So what I'm doing is telling you our experience, what I have learned and what we're doing. There's a whole lot more I can learn, but this is just our experience. And again, people's contexts are different as well. You know, we have these pastures here that are flat. Somebody might be on hills. Someone might have a silvopasture. Somebody might have 400 acres of just pasture that they're managing. So you're going to do it different depending on what your context is, what region you're in, what grasses and forage is growing. And this is where we're at right now in our journey. It's actually early to get them down here. We usually don't get them down here at about the second week of April. It's been so warm though, and the grass is just really going. We are at a point now where it's good to go ahead and just get them down here. We have two big pastures that are about 15 acres apiece, and we rotate them between those two, and then we subdivide those paddocks just using one hot line. Behind me you see some shade structures. These are, again, because we have no trees down here, they're on skids, so we're able to pull them wherever we need to go. I can pull them with my gator. We use, I think it's 90% shade cloth is what's on top, and that provides the shade. And then you'll see these buckets hanging. those are for fly control. We'll put sticky paper, the big sticky paper, on the buckets, and that helps to catch a lot of flies as the cattle spend a lot of time here. If you want to see a video, we did a video on that up here on non-toxic fly control. You can check that out. So what we're going to do is go ahead, we've got the hay in, we'll unroll that, we'll go ahead and get the hotline set up. And it's a matter of just calling them and they're going to be happy cows, finally getting back on some good grass. Let me take a second here and show you some of the pasture. So we're primarily a fescue pasture. We put a lot of fescue in a couple years ago, and this is a good 6, 7, maybe even 8 inches, and that's usually what we shoot for. Anywhere from 6 to 8 inches, that's where we kind of want to keep the pasture. We'll put them in here, we'll watch how long it takes them. You can also see a lot of this stuff, stinkweed, we get a lot of that come up. I've cut it before, but I've also just found that it dies out really quick. Doesn't last very long, so we usually just let it go, and about a month from now it'll be gone and be nothing but fescue and clover in here. We get a lot of fescue, definitely got a lot of clover in here. We seeded some of that as well, but there was already a lot here to begin with. And you can still see some of these white areas are just old areas where we put hay down, and it's just some thick areas of hay, and we found that works really well because, like, as you can even see, grasses will start coming up through it, so it almost just makes like it holds moisture under it, and found just helps make the pastures a lot more lush. Again, we feed most of our hay up top, but we still will feed some hay down here depending on how the pastures are looking, what the weather's like, and how far we can push them down here before we move them up. So the pasture, the hay again, just gives a nice overseeding, and it just helps bring more fertility to the pasture. All right, let's go ahead and roll a hay bale, and then we will set our line up and get the cattle down here. All right, we got some hay down. I'm under one of the shade structures now. As you can see, it's pretty barren right here, and that's my fault because last year we just left them here too long. Cattle congregate here a lot. It's the whole point of having it on sled just so you can move it, and I just failed as a farmer at that part. So we're gonna go ahead and move this now because they will be congregating it under some. So just move it forward to a nice fresh patch. So what we use to move these, just a nice heavy duty chain, and this is, I want to say it's either 3/8 or 1/4 inch steel that we welded on all the parts, and it's very heavy. It's a beast. We wanted to make sure that, especially with that tarp, it wasn't something that was going to blow away. Now, the downside, it's been set in a while, and it's probably a little much for my gator. I should probably have my tractor down here doing it, but I think we can loosen it up with the gator and get it moving. The dimensions of it, it's 11 foot across and 24 foot back, so 11 by 24, so it gives a nice area. This works great for around 20, 25 head of cattle. We like to have another one, but this seems to work for what our context and for our small herd. All right, we got her out of the mud. If you're interested in building a shade structure, I've linked down below. The plans we got were from the University of Kentucky. They're free, they have some run-ins, shade structures, and again, that link will be down below. All right, now that we've got the shade structures moved, nothing to do but set the hotline up and we'll get the cattle in here. So where we're gonna start our line, the cattle have already, caught up to me, obviously, so they're outside the gate here. We're gonna run the line. One of the things I just want to point out when you're running a hot line on your pastures is make sure your handle part, meaning you got the big reel, and then you've got a handle part. You're gonna attach one to one end, one to the other. Make sure you've got your handle part at the area where you're gonna wanna open the most. Sounds common sense, but I've done it a number of times where I'll just run the reel, get it set up, and realize, oh, I should have done it the other way, because it'll be much easier to open. So just think about where you're gonna move your cattle to next and how you wanna open it, and that's where you wanna put your handle part at. All right, we're gonna hook it to the fence. I'll hold it in my hand with the gator and we'll ride to the other side, put a couple step-in posts in, and we'll get it done. One more thing I wanted to mention is right behind me, it's our waterer. And you definitely have to take that in your context when you're rotationally grazing. So think about which side of the water you want the fence on, and we have one water again. So we typically just have to move the fence to either side depending on where the cattle are at in the pasture. And we'll run one line, we'll have the cattle there. We'll set up a second line, that's where they will move into. And then usually up near the water where the line is hooked, that's where we'll move that to accommodate, just so they can get the water. and try to prevent them from going back into the area. Some people that rotationally graze, they will just actually leave the back because the cattle tend to want the new stuff, but we've tried that and I found that they do end up going to the back to eat the younger stuff, which is what I want to prevent. So we try to put a back line in when we move them to another paddock so that they can't get back there and eat that baby stuff, the good stuff that's coming back up, and give that a chance to grow. All right, let's run the line. Something real quick with these lines, make sure your hands are away when you're doing this, because obviously if a line was to get around your finger or something and you're driving, you could be in big trouble. So just make sure your hands, anything that hangs, everything is very clear. I also have a fairly loose grip, so if there's a jerk, I'm letting it go. And that way you just make sure you protect your hands when you're doing this. Now we've got our reel to the other side. There's a bunch of different ways to secure your reel. You can just hang it on your step-in post. I can't remember what kind of reels these are. It might be Premier 1. Either way, they come with their own hooks here. So essentially, I just hang it on the hook there, and that hangs there. But again, I love the O'Brien reels. You get those from Tin Cove. I'm not sure where else you can get them. They have like a 3-to-1 gear ratio, so for every turn, or you can crank it like 3 times with 1 turn. They're really easy and you can really roll them out fast. Again, they're in use up top, so we're just going to use this guy for now. Plus this has it holds a ton. It's an extra large reel. Again, I think I got these from Premier 1. If I'm wrong, I'll have a little correction here in the below. And I don't really have a preference, as long as it works. So you can see the line running here and basically all the way to the other side of the pasture. Again, we're giving them kind of a loose pasture right now. I know it's going to be a couple days before I can actually move cattle again because of other projects and work that we've got going on. So that's another thing to think of when you're setting up your pastures, is when is the next time you're going to be able to move it. You kind of want to use that to determine how big a pasture you're going to get them. And again, I don't have a formula for how many cows, what size. It's more just you got to watch. You just got to do it, try it, do it one day, go down that next day, see what the pasture looks like. It's going to be dependent on what size your cattle are, how many you have, what time of year, is it raining, is it dry? There's just so many factors that go into it. So it's not a one size fits all. So really give them a paddock, keep your eye out, maybe take some notes, and just watch and see what your paddock does, how fast they're eating everything down. And after doing it for a bit, you'll get a good idea of what you need. So, and then I tend to err on the caution and give them a little bit bigger. We've gotten rid of a lot of cattle since a couple of our videos. Took them to the processor, and we've got room now. So we're being a little more generous with our space and the cattle. All right, last thing to do, we're gonna tighten this line up, and we'll put in some step-in post, cut on the fence, and let them in. All right, as far as post, we also use O'Brien's post. Again, you get these from Tin Cove. We're not sponsored by them or anything. I got it actually from Greg Judy's book, I believe, where he uses these, and I have got to admit, these have been the most sturdy things I've ever bought. You can get other ones from other hardware stores, ag stores, but these O'Brien's that we got from Tin Cove are just, I've got some I've had for 4 years. I don't think I've ever had a prong break or the step-in break. They are built really tough, highly recommended. Again, not sponsored, don't get any money, anything like that from them. Just a great product, and if you're gonna use step-in post and rotationally graze, again, highly recommend them. So we've got our line, you can see running here. We're just gonna drive along it, put in some step-in post, and then we'll let the cattle in. When I'm putting in the step-in post, I typically, at least with these O'Brien's, I love the second notch down, works perfect. Then I'll have them pretty widely spaced to begin with, and then I can kind of look, see where I need to adjust. and go from there. Very simple. Step in post, and hook it up, and that's it. All right, let's head on down. We'll get our step in post in and then get the cattle in. One more thing I wanted to mention is that I usually like this line to be about nose high. You can see it on me here. It's probably about to my thigh, kind of right here. And I feel like that's sort of the perfect height where they can't go under, they'll still clean the line good. If they do get under, this is within a perimeter fence, so not a big deal. Get them back in and keep on keeping on. Let's get the rest of these step in posts in and then cut the fence on and let the cattle in. All right, guys, well, the cattle are in. Of course, I forgot to hit record when it came through. Kind of suck at this YouTube thing. Yeah, I forgot to hit record for that. My mic died yesterday with a ton of footage I had about the brooder, so we'll have that coming. But yeah, they're here. They got grass now, and this makes you feel good as a farmer because you're making them happy. They could care less about me right here talking. They're just grass and good to go. So we've got their hotline set up. Just got done doing the checker, and 4.5, I like it a little hotter than that. That's a little low, so I'm gonna do a ride around here in a few and just check all the connections, make sure nothing's touching or grounding out. So we've got the cattle in, they're eating grass, I'm having my coffee, everybody's happy. And this is just makes you feel good as a farmer to get them on good grass, to know you're taking good care of them. And you hear them pulling the grass out, and this feels good. It's good to see them doing it. And you know, if you're rotating your cattle, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I hate during the winter sometimes, especially with our lot. We pushed it a little bit this year, and I feel the cattle suffered a little bit for it. And it's just a learning thing. Again, we're not experts, and I'm trying to just watch them, learn from you guys. And so we got them on green grass now, though. They also got some hay for transitioning, and we'll probably feed them hay for another couple weeks, just here and there, just to make sure that they're getting what they need. If you see some things we can do better, please comment below, let us know. If you have any questions about anything we're doing, definitely let us know. We're glad to answer questions, what we can, and if I can't answer them, hopefully I can send you to someone that can. We'll have to get their mineral trough down here. And if you want to see how we do minerals, what mineral we use, and see that system, then